All right, we are back here at the medium heavyweight finals at no hands. Manuel Ribamar is going to be taking on Felipe Cesar Silva.
Ribamar has had a really great performance. I think this is the best we've seen him in quite a while. He had some very impressive wins this weekend to make it to this final match. And nice to note, in his corner is his wife and new baby, Nacheli de Jesus, world champion in her own right. And their brand new baby here, she was actually set to compete today. Her opponent didn't show up in her division, but she's here ready to coach.
The baby?
Yeah, yeah, the baby. Yeah, world champ baby.
Ribamar on top, where he's looked very impressive all weekend. Has been nearly impossible to sweep so far, but Felipe Cesar Silva may know exactly how to do it.
Big passing pressure here from Manuel Ribamar. Not enough to solidify a position or to get an advantage, but I like the way that he is definitely putting Felipe's guard on notice, right? He's really, look at this big pressure from Ribamar. And that's the second time I've seen him put a lot of pressure and then back right out. So just kind of warming up here, filling him out.
And these are little pokes, right, to Felipe Cesar. He takes that big outside speed pass and then closes the distance and says, I can pass tight too, keeping Felipe honest about not allowing Ribamar to get set up really in anything.
Reset back to the feet here. Just under 2 minutes in, and we see Ribamar on a big single leg here.
This is another weapon we've seen Riba use all weekend, is that snatch single that he's really come up with. Great head position. He is in a good spot to finish this takedown. He just needs to get Felipe moving a little bit more, because right now Felipe is stagnant. Going to be easy for him to clear.
Wow, Felipe
great
returns.
counter, but Riba back to his feet. That's going to end up an advantage for Felipe Cesar. Ribamar, though, I think might have gotten the psychological advantage in that exchange.
I think so too. I mean, that was a very interesting kind of throw by underhook counter by Felipe, but that single leg was picked up with such ease. Like you said, he had such good head positioning. But the mistake that I believe he made there, obviously there's always more than meets the eye when it comes to what we're watching, but from the way that it looked, the death of a single leg is when you stop moving, right? Just like you were saying, Corey, you need to keep them moving, even if you're not in your finishing mode, even if it's not something that's going to get the two. It's I have to keep them moving forward, backward, keep them hopping on one leg. Don't let them get to the foot to the outside and start to put weight back in that leg that I'm trying to take them down.
And even if maybe Ribamar was not looking to finish that single, but the motion would have at least worked a little bit more at exhausting Felipe, right? Because even if he knows he can't take Felipe down this early in the match, moving around would have been a good opportunity for him to make Felipe work harder than he wants to.
Right. Now I see Felipe pull, which I do think is a smart strategy here now that he had that advantage from that exchange. But nobody wants to be under the heavy passing pressure of Riba either.
We've seen all day that you can try to sweep Ribamar, but to knock him off his feet is not an easy task. It's very hard for athletes to send Ribamar to his back unless Ribamar wants to go to his back.
Another scramble exchange towards the edge of the match here.
Four minutes now off the clock. 6 minutes remains in this medium heavyweight final, where one advantage is all that separates Manuel Ribamar and Felipe Cesar. And if you're looking at the scoreboard on our screen, the advantage has been allocated to the wrong athlete. Felipe Cesar Silva is the one who does have the advantage in this matchup.
Please report to the medal podium on mat number 1.
Less than 5 minutes here now to go, and it's be interesting to see if he opts to look at that wrestling again. He had great success with it in the beginning. Even though the score on the board doesn't show that, I do agree with you, Corey, that psychologically that is a really big advantage. And also not only to intimidate your opponent, but also to know that you're capable of getting to that point with your partner, right? And that you have the advantage as far as the stand-up goes. And just as I say that, he shoots in again on that same side, single leg. Right on the edge of the mat here, we see a big transition from Felipe Silva, but it was right before the referee called stop.
And that perhaps a psychological victory for Felipe, right? To counter yet again the single leg of Manuel Ribamar with a big takedown.
Big underhook in here from Hiba, straight to the back on the mat, but doesn't quite have the leg positioning to support it. And now we see Felipe in on a leg of his own.
Hiba looked to melt right into that passing position, but left himself exposed, and Felipe wisely using the leg lock to set up a back take, but his hooks aren't quite in. Ribamar's doing a good job to make sure his hooks don't get in, and he could use this to pass. Both men may want to slow this position down because moving too fast will make something happen that maybe they can't predict.
Right, I was going to say, it looks like Felipe Silva was definitely picking up speed there. And now we see he was circling to Felipe Silva's back while they go out of bounds.
He's going to want to pull him back inbounds before anything happens here. He'll get the advantage, but it looks like the referee's going to call a stop to this for now.
That is quite the exchange that happened on the edge, but he'll be awarded 2 advantages. So this does put Hiba in the advantageous position now with a very, very slight lead.
Hiba's first lead of the match. Let's see if that changes the dynamic here.
Yes. That was very well done by Hiba, because at the edge there, it almost looked like Felipe Silva slowed down a little bit, maybe thinking that the out-of-bounds call was going to be made, and Hiba just picked up speed. I think that was really, really smart play. But Felipe also looking a little unfazed. He looked to his corner, he said it's okay, looks confident, looks aggressive still.
Ribamar looking like he doesn't want to tie up for too long. I think he prefer to shoot from the outside.
He was going to have to be a little careful here on backing up, although, as I say that, reaching in for some foot sweeps, some head snaps. Big shot from Felipe Silva. Now looking like he's backing out of bounds on this front headlock, which is a dangerous game to play.
This is smart by Ribamar to not necessarily try to pull him in too much, but also definitely not to force him out. He just kind of wants to leave this in this front headlock position for as dominant a position as possible, see what he can collect on the scoreboard. And the answer to that is nothing, apparently. But now Hiba looking like he has a little bit more swagger. About 2 minutes left in this.
Got his confidence back.
Yeah. When two athletes are matched up this closely, that really can determine the game, right?
Yes.
Is when you lead, how much you let that affect you. When you're behind, how much you let that affect you.
When a ref makes a bad call, how much what you perceive to be a bad call, how much you let that affect you. Interesting to see Hiba really relax into Felipe, having that inside position, not really looking to control the tie very much of his own, but now returning with some heavy head snaps, so this could be a bit of a change in pace.
And with about 70 seconds left on the clock, I expect to see both of these guys start to accelerate. Hiba in his collar ties, and Felipe, let's hope, in some of the risks he takes, the only way for him to win this match is to make an opening. This an interesting one, trying to pull down to his guard to see what he can make happen there.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see Hiba look and say that he didn't think there were grips made, maybe thinking the referee might give him a penalty. but no penalty was made. It was a solid pull. So now 40 seconds. We're going to see Felipe definitely blitz out here, looking to score a last-minute 2-point sweep or takedown, wrestle up. But as I say that, Hiba starts jumping over the guard, almost establishes chest-to-chest connection. But with only 30 seconds left, Felipe has a lot of ground to cover.
That big leap over doesn't do anything on the scoreboard as far as advantages are concerned, but you have to think it does convince the referee that that Hiba is still moving forward. And this now, this underhook, this heavy crossface is going to be enough for Hiba to just put Felipe Cesar Silva on ice. He doesn't have to move forward anymore if he doesn't want to. This is a great control position. He doesn't need to rush anymore. And Manuel Ribamar will become the 2022 No-Gi Pan champion.
And the once black belt no-gi world champion is now also a Pan Am no-gi champion here in the 2022 medium heavyweight division.